Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live with the Pricing Lady. I'm Janine Liston, your hostess for this show. This show is all about you and pricing in your small business. I work with small business owners to help them create, communicate, and charge for the value they deliver, to help them feel more confident in the prices they put out there and how they're executing them in their company, and ultimately to help you build more sustainable profit in your business. That's what I'm here to help you with. Once again, I'm Janine, and I'm so happy to have you here with me. Today, we're going to talk about a very special topic. I love this topic. And it actually came to me, well, I've talked about it several times, of course, but the context in which I want to talk to you about it came to me about a month and a half ago. I was talking with a client, and we were having this conversation about hourly pricing. And they were really adamant at the time that hourly pricing was the only way they could do pricing in their business. So I really wanted to emphasize to them how it could be different for them. And so I asked the question, how do you perceive time in relationship to your price? Is that why people are buying from you, or are they buying from you for another reason? And she looked at me kind of confused. And I waited for a moment, and then I said, time is just the wrapper that your services come in. It's like a cereal. When you buy cereal at the grocery store, usually, although there are a couple exceptions, which I'll share in a minute, usually you buy the cereal for the cereal, not for the box. Now, the exception might be when, a company like Wheaties, when the Wheaties comes out with their Olympians on the boxes and things like that. But, the reality is we don't buy things generally for the packaging. We're buying it for what's inside. Now, at a secondary level, the packaging may be important to us, right? Or how we can use or reuse that packaging, but that's not the main reason that we're buying it. And the same is true when it comes to your services. People aren't buying them for the time involved. They're buying them for the value you can provide in that time frame, of course, but they're buying it for the value they're going to get from it, not for the time. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We're going to look at three things. First, we're going to talk about what are some of the disadvantages of hourly pricing. When you understand how it's working against you, you might be more inclined to look at how to start using something other than hourly prices. We're going to look as well, so the second thing we're going to take a look at is when is it appropriate for your business? And then the last thing we'll take a look at is how you can start shifting from hourly pricing to something that's going to be more reflective of the value that you are delivering. So welcome to those of you who are joining us live, as well as those of you who are watching later on. If you have any comments or questions as we go through, you can go ahead and put them in the chat in the comments below. All right, let's get stuck into this topic about how time is just the wrapper that your prices are delivered in. So today we're specifically talking about service-based businesses. Still interesting for those of you who do products, because you may also offer services to go along with your products. So don't tune out, stay tuned in and come along with this. So the first disadvantage to pricing by the hour is when you do that, you're telling the customer that the price is really related to you and not to them. So the focus becomes all on you instead of the value that you can bring them in whatever journey you're taking them on. Now, this can be consulting, it can be coaching, it could be plumbing services, it could be, just about anything that I could think of in way of a service. And you don't want the focus to be on you, you want the focus to be on the value that you bring. So that's the first disadvantage of, giving people an hourly rate, is that they're going to be focused on time as opposed to the value that they're going to get out of the work. Second of all, hourly prices, they just kind of sound expensive. Right? Now, we can say hourly, we can say half day, full day, week, same potato, right? same, it's time-based. So again, you're going to have these disadvantages. And one of them is really that it sounds expensive because, when most of us do the math, we think, wow, 300 francs an hour, that sounds really expensive, or 50 francs an hour, depending on what it is, can sound really expensive. Just think about babysitters. I know when I was babysitting, I started when I was 12 years old. I was super excited to get like $3 an hour. And that, to me sounded like a super lot of money. And, from a parent's perspective at the time, paying $3 an hour, it's like they go out, they have dinner and they have some drinks. They might go out to a movie afterwards, and the $3 an hour on top of everything else that they're paying for made the date expensive, right? So again, hourly rates or time-based rates can sound really expensive, and people are just then calculating the hours it's going to take or the days it's going to take, and they're doing the math in their head, and again, it just feels really expensive. The third reason or disadvantage to time-based pricing is it makes you appear like a commodity. And once people perceive what you do as a commodity, then you are left trying to fight on price. And that's not what we want for you in most cases. Okay, if you're going to have an economy-based strategy with your pricing, then maybe time-based pricing will be an effective way for you as long as your prices are lower than everybody else's. But in general, when you are perceived as a commodity, that's going to work against you, and time-based pricing makes you appear more commoditized. So the assumption is that you do it the same as everybody else does, so then people are just going to look for whoever is the low price leader. Meaning that regardless of the value, or if you feel, again, this is something we want to steer away from because we know you are delivering, great value. Disadvantage number 4. This is a biggie. Now, if you're just starting out in your business, of course, you probably won't work as efficiently as if you've been doing it for 20 years or 10 years even, right? So what happens is time goes by and you get more experience and you work more efficiently, people start paying less for more value. Right, I said less for more value, because let's face it, most people like things done more speedily and they're willing to pay for it to be done faster. So if you are more efficient and you're charging less, then you're charging less for more value, which is the opposite way from which we want things to go. If you're delivering more value, we want you to be able to charge additional for the additional value you're delivering. Okay. Disadvantage number 5 is that the time you spend isn't necessarily directly proportional to the value the customer gets. So this is a little bit similar to number 4. But the real perspective I want you to understand here is that the value isn't derived from the amount of time spent. The value is derived from your experience, your know-how, your perspective, the way you solve problems, the way you approach the work that you're doing. These are the things that will bring additional value to your customers, not so much as just the time. Anybody can spend time on something, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be delivering the same or equal or more value. Okay, so these are the disadvantages. Let me just walk right through them one more time so that if you just joined us, you can follow along. So disadvantage number 1 is hourly rates are about you, not the customer. So we got the focus in the wrong place. Number 2, they sound very expensive. So it just sounds expensive, $350 an hour. Ouch. You call up a plumber and they tell you how much it's going to cost, or a lawyer, and you immediately cringe, right? Second of all, it makes you appear like a commodity in the marketplace. Fourth, if you're more efficient, you're charging less money for more value. And fourth, what's valuable isn't the time spent, but your experience in being able to solve the problem. So those are the 5 disadvantages. Now, the next thing that we wanted to take a look at is, when is it suitable to actually use hourly pricing? Because there are some, or time-based pricing, there are some cases where it does make sense. Now, in some industries, it will be the standard and the only accepted standard. And I want to be really careful here, because I hear from people all the time, oh, that's what everybody else does. That's not what I mean by the only accepted standard. Just because everybody else does something this way doesn't mean that you have to. And there may be advantage for you doing it differently, because you will stand out, right? So in some industries, it's simply that is the only way it's done. So generally, like with plumbing, in the plumbing industry, I rarely ever see package pricing. And there's another reason for that, which I'll get into a moment. But let's say here in Switzerland, with people who provide things like massage therapy or other alternative therapies that are sometimes covered by the health insurance, and in those cases, I see people who say, no, I can't charge anything else. And other people say, oh yeah, I can charge plenty. So there is the possibility. You just have to figure out how to do that. And it has to be fit for the people who you're targeting. So again, if it's an industry standard and the only standard, then that is a time when you would want to use it. Next, when there are regulations to what you can charge. So in some industries, you're not allowed to charge above a certain level, or charge your prices in a certain way. So there may be regulations that are driving what you can and can't do in terms of time-based pricing. And the last one is, if there's no way for you to deliver something with a fixed scope. Right. So this is why I think traditionally people have priced based on time, because, they go in, they don't really know how much time it's going to take. So they simply just say, okay, it'll cost this much per hour, and however much time I spend is how I'm going to do this, or how much it's going to cost you. So what I'm saying here is that if you can't fix the scope of something, then of course it's going to be really hard for you to price based on fixed prices, which is the direction you would want to head if you steered away from time-based pricing. So if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to shift over to this other way of pricing. You're going to have to stick with this time-based things, and you're going to have to figure out how you can minimize the disadvantages that I spoke about here at the beginning. So if there's no way to deliver that fixed scope for something, then you're going to struggle to do anything but time-based pricing. So those are three areas where you might not be able to shift things. But what's really important is I want you to challenge your thinking on this. My mom used to always say, well, Janine, just because everybody else is jumping off a bridge doesn't mean you have to. And as much as I hate hearing that, it was actually true, right? And so what's important here is that you challenge your own thinking on this, and you think about, okay, how can I do this? And that's the third thing that I want to talk to you about right now. So what can you do differently if you're currently charging based on time and you want to start shifting away from that? So I have some clients who use a hybrid. They create standard offers for things there where they can build a scope around it, right? And then they have just specific offers for each of those with a fixed price. And then when it comes to bespoke or custom solutions, they get into custom pricing. But usually we're still working with packages here. They're just built based on each customer's specific needs. So that's one thing that you want to start taking a look at, is how can you build up packages for what you're offering? And again, they need to have a fixed scope to them. So what do I mean by a fixed scope? Well, let's think about if I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head here. Well, let's say you're building a website for somebody, and you can build a very simple one. You can build one where you include some branding work, and you can build one where you include branding plus some social media work on top. So you could actually build packages for those three things. That's an example. So what can you do different as well? So I don't want you to let go of time entirely, but I want you to use it in a different way. Now, for some of you, and I've worked with quite a few freelancers, this is a tough one, right? So here, what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is time isn't going to be the basis for your pricing, but it is going to be the basis for you to understand your own efficiency. Right? So you may set your packages based on an assumed daily rate or something like that, or an hourly rate that you use, but you never communicate those rates to customers. That's just for your own information in the background. So one way you're going to set these package prices, and you're going to estimate how much time it's going to take, and you're going to use that to understand the efficiency. So after each project, you're going to go back and say, okay, how much time did I actually spend versus how much I thought I would spend? Am I working as efficiently as I need to be? And if I am, or if I'm not, does that mean I should adjust my pricing? Do you see what I mean? So it's a little bit, you're using it in a different context. Also, and this is the hardest part, you're going to have to let go of the time factor. And this is a tricky one, especially for you freelancers out there who are used to just calculating time and charging people based on time. When you shift to package pricing, you're going to have to say, all right, on some projects, I'm going to earn a little bit more money. On some projects, I'm going to earn a little bit less because it's going to take me less time or more time. And you have to be okay with that, plus minus. But that's why it's so important that you understand and are very clear about the scope of your standard packaged offers, so that if you start to go outside of scope, you have a way to go back to the customer and say, okay, this was the original scope of what we intended. Now we're moving into this new area, and we need to talk about what you want here so that I can make you an offer for that. So again, there's 2 points that I've covered in here. One is kind of letting go of sometimes I'll make more, sometimes I'll make less, that aspect of it. And 2, really clearly defining that scope for those standard offers, so that if it goes out of scope, you do still have the opportunity to be able to go back to your client and make a second offer or make an additional offer to go along with what you're working on. Let's see. Yes, here's another really great one. So one of the reasons we use time-based pricing is for things that, we kind of think, well, a large majority of people can do this kind of work, right? So we see it as sort of a commodity. One way to take yourself out of the commodity space is not to just offer your website development services, for example, but to also offer the strategy. So we call that operational work versus strategic work. So one way you can start making that shift is by putting more strategic work in with what you do. Because of course, then you can charge differently for that. It's also a way to create packages that are of varying value. So your cheapest package has 0 strategy in it, while your premium packages have more strategy in it, right? And more one-to-one support. So again, here, we're trying to think about what's the value we can put into these packages at different levels, so we can hit different price points and different value points for different types of customers. So those are some of the things that you can start doing differently in order to shift your business from time-based pricing to value-based pricing. And really, again here, the big message I want you to take away is that time-based pricing in general is not going to be a value-based approach to pricing in your business. And we want to make sure we shift that right on over so that you can start earning prices that are reflecting the actual value you are delivering in your business. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Real brief recap. There are 5 disadvantages to time-based pricing. Hourly rates are about you, not your customer, is number 1. They are or time-based prices seem really expensive. They make you appear as a commodity rather than something special and of value. Number 4, if you're more efficient, you end up charging less for more value. And number 5, time spent isn't necessarily where the value comes from, right? Now, most of you are going to be able to start shifting on over to packaged prices rather than time-based. But in order to do that, you need to have a few things in place. You need to let go of the time factor when it comes to your standard packages. Be okay that sometimes you'll earn more and sometimes you'll earn less, but not throw time out altogether, because you're going to use that to understand how efficiently you're working in your business and occasionally adjust your prices if you see your efficiency shifting in one way or the other. You are going to, as I said, create packages, and you're going to combine different types of value for different types of customers into those packages so that you can create the right packages to target the people who you want to work with most. I wish you a wonderful day, everyone. Have a great time. If you want to talk to me about pricing in your business, how to start shifting your own business from time-based to package-based pricing, go ahead on over to JanineListon.com/discovery call and book that call with me. I'll see you next time. And as always, everyone, enjoy pricing.